Hey everyone, it's Diana Zenny. Thank you for joining us for our webinar this evening on August 21st. Tonight we have the incredible Gaye Walden here with us. We are so honored and privileged to have her. She is an absolute wealth of information, and we are going to just jump right into some great information and a presentation from Gaye about thermography and breast health. And we know that a lot of people are going to catch this recording, and we know that some of you may have questions, so if you're not on live, you can absolutely follow up with Gaye afterward. We'll make sure everyone has her contact information, and I think she has some exciting events coming up as well. So we'll make sure you have all of those details. Like I said, my name is Diana Zenny. I am the founder of Think Crunchy, so we're on a mission to inform, unite, connect all of the beautiful minds here in the Charlotte area with all things holistic health and natural health. And so without further ado, I'm going to kick it right over to Gaye.
All right.
Gaye.
Thank you so much, Diana. Good evening, everyone. Is the slide, let's see, here we go. Slide presentation is up now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let me give you a little background about myself, of course. I opened Holistic Breast Health, which is my company, a little over 10 years ago. I was trained first to be a health coach by IIN, the Institute of Integrated Nutrition. And this specialty of thermography found me in that my daughter went to work for a holistic doctor in the DC area who's a pioneer in this. My training came from him. He's a gifted alternative healer, and I'm so blessed that I was connected with him, or otherwise I would not be offering this service to women. One of the things I knew when I started the business that I would be incorporating my health coaching training with the thermography. That means that when you come here to have a thermogram with me, you're going to get a follow-up visit where we go over the report, which is important, our findings from the imaging, but most importantly, I go over with every woman all the proactive things she can do to affect positive change in this part of her health. And one of the things that has stuck with me over the years with my training with Dr. Wren, his name is Dr. Bruce Wren, is that and this is a man, this is unbelievable. He says, Gaye, the hands-off approach to women's breast health is not working for them. And I have found in all these years that I've been doing this, that is so true. Most of the women who come to me for the first time say, I don't examine my breast at all, either physically or visually. And that's something every woman, I'm going to just say this at the very beginning, needs to learn to change if she can. There's a certain uncomfortableness about this part of a woman's body. And that's something that I think culture we need to work on, and each woman needs to work on this, because this is a very important, God gave us the breast to feed our young, but there's something, about touching the breast that makes a lot of women feel uncomfortable. So I endeavor, to say this to every woman who comes to me, to make sure she knows that, only when she's literally in better touch with the breast is she's going to be able to pick up anything different. But as we go through the presentation, I'm going to be talking about another way that women need to be touching their breasts is by doing lymphatic breast massage, which I have found is one of the most effective things for making the breast healthier. There's no question when women learn to do breast lymphatic work, their breasts are going to be healthy. So now I'm trying to make the slideshow go, and for some reason we did this in the beginning and it's not moving ahead. Diana, hold on. It's not moving ahead, and I don't know why. Hold on.
Did you hit the little, are you trying the arrow and there you go.
Yes, there we go. Now let me see. There we go. I got it now. So
perfect.
Yeah. Well, let me go. I've scrolled down too much. Okay, here we go. All right, this is the first one I wanted to show. I know there are a couple of people, including Diana, who know a little bit about what we're looking for in the images, but I want to start off by actually showing you how we view these images that we take. First of all, I use an infrared camera to measure heat on the surface of the breast tissue. A thermal camera that's sensitive to less than 1/10 of a degree, that's going to pick up temperatures and temperature differences very effectively. And this is why I show this first image in rainbow color, because you can see the scale of color is all you need to know. Black is the coldest color, white is the hottest. As you go up the scale, you're talking about a minute amount of temperature difference. My thermal camera is able to pick up minute temperature differences. You can see over this right breast. As we're looking at this image, the right breast is going to be on our left and the left breast is going to be on our right, because the woman is facing me when I take the images. I just want to make sure that people know that. So this is the right breast. You can see the green area that's circled. Well, the reason why we circle that, green is here on the scale, but look, the same area in the left breast is warm. Cooler. So that's why we identified this area of green and we measure it to see what the temperature difference is. The mapping of temperature to different colors can show slight variations, like I said, to less than 1/10 of a degree in temperatures. With warmer areas, if there's no infection or trauma, then what we're picking up is inflammation. And inflammation, we know we can reduce. I know that everyone on this, listening to this, if you're interested in alternative health, you know that inflammation is what causes disease. So if we can reduce inflammation anywhere in the body, and specifically in the breast, we're going to affect positive change in the health of the breast tissue. So we also look at these images in grayscale. I'm getting to this basic. This shows us blood vessel activity. A lot of people who do thermography don't look at the images in grayscale, but they have a story to tell. This is what we call branching. I'm pointing to my arrow is pointing to this blue line, these blue lines. I mean, they're actually not blue, they're pink. And when one vascular line branches off, that's branching. Most everyone has a little bit of that due to structure, but we follow the formation of these blood vessels to make sure that they're not forming in such a way that's indicative that there may be a disease process going on. And what this does is gives you a heads up. And the one thing about how breast cancer is handled today, they promote early detection. Well, early detection is not prevention. So with thermography, if we're able to pick up these physiological indicators, significant temperature differences, blood vessel patterns that are indicating that there's a disease process forming, and if we can reverse those things, we are preventing it from showing up in the other screenings. And for those of you who don't know what the other screenings are, mammography is the gold standard. Ultrasound, if after you have a mammogram, you have to have a mammogram first, but an ultrasound is a non-invasive way of determining between a fluid-filled cyst and one more solid. And then there's MRI. But the doctor who trained me said, Gaye, they all have their place. This screening does not replace the other screenings, but it is the only one that can give you this forecast, a forecast that's not going in the right direction, we can reverse. And in the 10 years I've been doing this, over 10 years, I have seen so many befores and afters of women who come and their thermogram is not what we want it to be, and they take the appropriate proactive steps. And when they come back, we see in the images the improvement. And what we're going for, and you'll see this in this image here, is symmetry in the color. You see how both breasts look alike from a color standpoint, and they're at the cooler end of the scale. This is an ideal. I mean, I don't have many of these, unfortunately, but I show this image to women who come to me routinely, just give them a visualization of what we're looking for. When we see this kind of symmetry in the cool colors, we know that reflects healthy breast. This is an image of someone with asymmetry, extreme asymmetry. So if we see something like this where the breasts don't look alike and we have heat patterns meandering through the breast, and you can see that by the warmer colors in each breast, that gets our attention. This particular lady had breast cancer, and she was curious when I first started doing this, and I imaged her because she was a friend of a friend, and her current mammogram was normal. And she, after having breast cancer, women are routinely asked to do mammography every 6 months or a year. She had just had a mammogram and it was clear.
Wow.
So she has a high risk thermogram now because she's got some patterns in here and some significant temperature difference that indicate that things are not going in the right direction. So what does this mean? It means if she doesn't make changes and take some proactive steps, there's a very good chance she'll have breast cancer again. This is about lifestyle. Everyone thinks it's genetics. Only 5 to 10% of all cases of breast cancer have a genetic component. That leaves 90 to 95% in our control. And I firmly believe that because of all these before and after images that I've seen where people have taken these steps and affected such great change and made their breast healthier. So I'm going to start with, well, I'm going to show you some before and afters. Now, you'll see above these images, TH4, TH3. We do use a risk assessment scale. It's TH1 through TH5. It's a number that indicates the health of your breast. It's like that forecast. So anything 1 and 2 is below average. 3 is average. 4 and 5 is above average. So anytime we see anything that's a 4, that might mean just one significant hot area. That could be the reason why she has that above average risk rating. We want to sit down and go over the things she's doing now and make sure that she knows what she can do. And this particular woman in 5 months went from a TH4 in the right breast and a TH3 plus in the left breast to a TH3 in both breasts in 5 months. And you can see the better symmetry. You see the symmetry. The colors are in the cool colors, and that's reflected, and they look alike. That symmetry is very, very important. Now, while I'm on this one, I haven't pointed this out yet. There's certain areas of the body when I image that are always going to be warm. That would be the neck, underneath the arms, and underneath the breast. Those are normal areas of heat. Nothing to be concerned about. What we're looking at when we take images below the chin to below the breast tissue, we're looking at the areas, what we call the upper quadrant and in the global breast proper. And because we're taking the entire upper body, we're trying to find some clues as to where the heat might be coming from. And these images sometimes can give us clues so that we can tailor the appropriate proactive steps for that particular woman. So here's one that made progress in 3 months. Now, 3 months is record time. Usually when a woman comes and she has an above average risk assessment in one or both breasts, it's going to take a minimum of 6 months, depending on what she does. This particular woman addressed things very quickly and focused on it very much. And I can tell you, I'll start telling you about some of the things that she did. She lost 10 pounds, and you can kind of see that in the images that she did lose weight. And sometimes when you lose weight in the breast, and that can always contribute to better breast health. And she had the Epstein-Barr virus come back. Everybody has it in them if they've had mono, but it lays dormant. But it had, reared its ugly head, and she was working with a healthcare practitioner, and they suppressed the Epstein-Barr virus, and she lost the weight, and she went on a strict regimen of eating healthier and cleaner. And in 3 months, she did this. This is record time. And here we go. This is a lady after cancer diagnosis. This is, and I get calls from women who have already been diagnosed and treated for cancer, and they don't want to get it again. And so when she came to me for the thermogram, she was a 5 in the left breast. You can see the asymmetry here. Compared to the right breast, this is much warmer. And when we did our calculations, we determined that area there was significantly hot compared to the same area in the right breast. And that is actually the area where lobular ductal carcinoma in situ was discovered. Well, she went from July of 2019 to having this thermogram to this follow-up thermogram this past April. And look at the symmetry in her breast. I was just blown away with the improvement that she has made. What she did, she stopped taking synthetic hormones. She learned how to do and has done lymphatic breast self-massage every day since she was diagnosed. She stopped wearing bras with wires. She detoxed from and eliminated foods to which she's allergic and is on a healthy, clean eating path. She uses the iodine spray. Iodine is a mineral that the breasts very much need. Most women don't know that. And most importantly, this is where I find that women do make the best improvement when they reduce their stress, because that is a huge part of any disease process. And because we know that when under extreme stress, the likelihood of getting diagnosed with any disease is much greater. So stress reduction and management is critical. So here is a before and after of someone who simply did breast lymphatic massage. This is her first thermogram with the TH5 in the left breast. And you might be seeing a lot of issues in the left breast with these before and after slides. It's always the left breast. I have done I've done calculations about which breast is most effective when a woman comes to do thermal imaging, and it's always the left. And women, I want you to know there's a reason for that. A couple of reasons. There's usually more than one reason, but this is where our heart is. And women in general give more of themselves to others and don't do enough for themselves. That's a key emotional reason why I think the left breast is the most affected. But in 4 months, simply by doing, she went to a therapist who provided this breast lymphatic therapy, and she didn't do it herself. She had the time and the resources, so she let somebody else do it. But whether you let somebody else do it, or I think the most important way is to learn how to do it and do it yourself regularly, which most women do, but some elect to have someone else do it. And in working with this person 4 months, she reduced her risk but by 1 point, and she made no other changes in her lifestyle at all. Food-wise,
Amazing.
it is amazing. So
That's amazing.
when you come to see me, I'm going to focus on the importance of breast lymphatic work and learning how to do this massage yourself. On my website, there is a diagram of how to do this. It's Dr. Wren, the doctor who trained me's diagram. It's simple to follow, or you can go to Effie Sperlin's site, the Sperlin Institute for Breast and Lymphatic Therapy. And there is a video on that site that shows you how to do it. And I obviously have them as resources for women to go to them and others in the area to learn how to do this and to start doing it yourself. So I'm going to show the before and after in grayscale for this particular woman. Actually, I'm going to show you grayscale first for this woman, and then I'll show you the rainbow. But I don't know how many of you know how important infrared therapy is. You hear a lot about light therapy now, red light and far infrared therapy. Well, I asked this airline pilot who has been coming to me for thermograms for several years, and she always has a high-risk thermogram. It's always above a 3, it's a 4 or 5. Well, she's an airline pilot. She's exposed to fumes in the airplane, in the instruments rather, in the fumes and the radiation. So, this is what her breasts look like in grayscale. And you see all of these patterns. These are patterns we want to reduce the blood in the vein there so it cools off, so it's not as dark and not as prominent. I asked her to experiment with this machine that a person in town owns that's like an infrared sauna on steroids. It's called a Photon Genius. Not many people have them. And it is like an infrared sauna on steroids. It's very powerful with sound and light and motion. It's incredible. So for five afternoons in a row, she did this therapy. Before she did it, though, I took a thermogram. And then after she did the 5 afternoons of this therapy with the Photon Genius, I took another thermogram of her, and she reduced her risk. I sent this to Dr. Wren by 1 point in 1 week, and it's very, very subtle. You can see slight cooling, but she did nothing else during that week except this therapy. And this is what it looks like in color. And again, it's
Wow.
very subtle. But with this experiment, and I experiment with my camera all the time, if we can just, have one thing that we can practice with, or one effective thing, that a woman proves to me has made improvement in her breast health, then that's valuable information that I can share, and I do share with all the women who come to me, what works. And this is incredible, even though it's subtle. This particular woman, this pilot, she doesn't fly she has a mini version of this Photon Genius, and she won't, she doesn't have it with her. When she gets off the airplane, the first thing she does, she finds a wellness center with an infrared sauna, because the lights off the invisible spectrum go to the cellular level to heal the body, not to mention the detoxification you get when you perspire from the heat. So it's the heat and the light. Energy heals. So I show you this one because I don't know if anybody out there is wearing Spanx. Okay. I think it's still available for people to wear, but yes, this client of mine came, and there was a change in her thermogram from the prior year. And I asked her, well, what have you done differently since you came last year? And she said, Gaye, the only thing I've done is I'm wearing Spanx underneath my breast every day. So it compresses her right here.
Yeah.
Her clothes fit better. And I get that. But just by doing that, her thermogram, she was a TH5 in the left breast. Well, after she stopped wearing the Spanx, look what her breast health did. You can see the improved symmetry. It's amazing.
Wow.
So
did that happen pretty quickly after she stopped?
Actually, it took a year.
Okay.
May 2017 to June of 2018. She just came yearly. But when I told her to stop wearing it, she did right away. And wow. She didn't change anything else in her routine, Diana. And here we go. I mean, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And
for sure.
Since that time, she stayed on the right path. But I'm going to mention why that Spanx did what it did. It's right here at the rib cage. If anything is restricted in the rib cage, meaning something's tight or it's out of place, it can negatively impact lymphatic flow in the breast. So deep breathing, keeping that rib cage open, doing yoga with deep breathing, really expanding that rib cage, that's extremely important. And of course, not restricting it with anything like this Spanx at all. And that's why too tight bras are the same thing. If you've got a bra that's too tight, or bras with wires, the bras with wires hit right in the lateral breast, and that's a very vulnerable area. I see heat in that area more than any other place when a woman comes here the first time, especially if she's still wearing bras with wires. So it's the first thing I ask her to do: take the wires out of your bra, or go get fitted for a bra that you can wear every day without wires. And that is extremely important. I want to show you what hormones do in these images. And the grayscale helps us pick up these blood vessel activity, as I mentioned earlier. But also, we can see indicators of hormonal imbalance, i.e. estrogen dominance in these images. Do you see the polka dotted look in this woman's images? You see it almost leopard-like, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So I asked her when I took this image, what are you doing? What supplement? What are you doing? That's a good idea, because this was one of the most pronounced leopard-like appearances that I'd seen. And she says, well, I started taking a new supplement. I bought it is it Berry Brook Farm? And she said, I don't know what's in it. I said, well, you go home and you call me and let me know what's in it. She did. The first ingredient was soy. Soy is one of the strongest phytoestrogens. It acts like estrogen in the body. a steady diet of soy is going to make a woman have hormonal imbalance because it again mimics estrogen in the body very closely. All plants have phytoestrogens, but soy is just one of the strongest phytoestrogens. And for that reason, a lot of people like myself don't think it's good to eat a lot of soy. And if you do, fermented soy is the best. Studies show in Asia that it's protected, but they start eating healthy soy from the very beginning. But then when you start eating soy later in life, especially the junk soy that's in the processed foods in this country, yeah, it's taking someone down the wrong path. But after she stopped taking that, and she didn't come in 2018, but look at her next images. Do you see the difference? In the grayscale, I know. In the grayscale, we want the breast to look white like that. We want these patterns to, but we definitely want that leopard-like look to disappear. When I see something like this, and I see a little bit of this in every woman, because we all have a certain amount of this estrogen dominance, which means that relative to your estrogen level, your progesterone level is even lower. So you have to, try to balance this naturally. A lot of women do it naturally, and some women go to, if their quality of life is affected, I find that some women will go with bioidentical hormones, and that the jury's still out on that. Taking anything outside of the body, even bioidentical hormones, as far as its long-term effect on breast health. We do know that synthetic hormone replacement, and that would be what women took years ago called Premarin. It was from horses' urine. And women took this for years and years and years until the nurses' study proved that this is a risk factor for breast cancer, and then most doctors stopped prescribing it. But anything that manipulates hormones outside of the body, including birth control and fertility drugs, is going to make it very difficult for a woman to keep her hormones balanced. Okay, so I love to show these before and after images, because this is what I preach every day. Food is the foundation, ladies. Food is the foundation. If we're not on a healthy eating path, that's the foundation. Nothing else may work. This shows what going from this lady, when she came first to me, she said, Gaye, I eat a whole food, plant-based diet, but we're not picky about organic. I said, okay. And I consider, a TH3 and a TH2 a good thermogram for a first one. But between August of 2016 and the next time she came to me, March of 2018, her thermogram's even better. Actually, this is the one I showed you earlier about the good symmetry. And I said, well, what did you do? She said, we are all organic now. We eat all organic. So look at the difference. So if you think eating organic doesn't matter, you better think again, because it does matter. Where do you think toxins come from? The food we eat and our environment. And I think all of you probably do know that. And our environment is so unhealthy, and our food is continuing to be manipulated, GMOs, and fake food. I mean, it's going to continue to happen, which means that we need to stand up for the farmers who produce the great local food that we have availability to in Charlotte. And I try to support them as much as I can, because the ones that don't spray and use synthetic fertilizers, those are the ones we want to support. And I know that eating a clean diet is going to be the foundation for every woman who comes to see me, regardless. Yes, that lady did lymphatic massage, and in 4 months, she was able to affect the change that she did. But just imagine if she also cleaned up the way she eats, it would be more like this, and it would be even better than what we saw earlier with her before and after images. Okay, so the whole idea is we're trying to pick up physiological changes years before structural change. What does that mean? It takes 8 to 10 years for cancer to form in the human breast. So if we can get these indicators with thermal imaging that things are not going well and do something about it, we are indeed preventing it from showing up in these other screenings that women have available. There's no question. So this particular woman, I can't tell someone when they come in and we see what we see here in this left breast, that that's cancer. I can say, whoa, that's a high, yeah, something's going on there. No question. And so what did this woman most likely do? Most of the women will correlate with other screenings. And when they don't want mammograms, that's very challenging, because in the conventional system, you cannot have a mammogram an ultrasound without doing a mammogram. I would say that most women who come to me and they want to correlate with other screenings, they want an ultrasound. It's not invasive. It's not radiation. And more women are thinking about mammography, when to have one, if they're going to have one, and how often to have them. And I absolutely believe that they should think about it, because it's not one mammogram that hurts a woman. But in this era, when we have 3D mammography, which takes more images of the breast, it was designed for dense breast tissue, and 50% of all women walking have dense breast tissue, which means that when they have a mammogram, they can't see what they're looking for, because the dense breast shows up in an X-ray and a mammogram as white, and what they're looking for is white. So what happens is, if there's a question mark about what they see, they're going to say, come back for more imaging. And sometimes instead of saying you can get an ultrasound, they will do more radiation. So this is not good. And the 3D is what most women are now getting, regardless of their breast density. And they will tell you that breast density is a risk factor for breast cancer. What it means is you have less fatty tissue, more glandular fibrous tissue, not as much fat. And it does make it very challenging in a mammogram to see what they are looking for. But I don't believe that it's a risk factor for breast cancer, as long as you get in touch with what that dense tissue feels like. And you can make that density, which is really related to age. The younger a woman is, the greater her chances she's going to have dense breast. So a 20 to 30, even 40-year-old, most likely is going to have this extreme density that doesn't make mammography an effective screening for her. But I think when you start doing the lymphatic work and you can soften that tissue, you can know what the dense tissue feels like. And over time, the breast tissue changes, it gets more fatty, and you'll be able to pick up these subtle changes that do happen with the aging process. But every woman I know comes here and says, oh, I have dense breast, I have dense breast. The fear of God has been put in them. I think that the reason why dense breast is not good is because if you rely on mammography, they're not going to be able to see anything. So there is a company that comes to Charlotte and actually goes all over the United States now. So a lot of my clients, when they want to correlate with another screening, will have a breast ultrasound by this independent company that travels around, and all you have to have is an appointment. It's called HERSCAN, HERSCAN, all caps, and you can do a breast ultrasound and pay out of pocket. Why can't women when they have dense breasts, be automatically entitled to an ultrasound? That's a great question, and
Absolutely.
It has to be changed. It's got to be changed. It's wrong, and one of my goals down the road is to do something about it. And I'll let you know when I have a bus, and I'll have you come on that bus, and we'll go to Raleigh and we'll change it, because that is the only way it's going to change.
Yes.
Is that enough people get together and say this is wrong, get the insurance companies involved. And because other states are doing this, there are states in the Northeast where if a woman has dense breasts, heterogeneously dense or extremely dense, she's entitled to a breast ultrasound without a mammogram, paid for by insurance. Well, there's
amazing.
So if it can happen in those states, it can happen here. but someone has to make that happen. Things like this just don't happen automatically without someone spearheading the effort. And stay tuned for that because it's such a huge issue in breast health. So this is not for my camera. I have never seen something like this with my camera. I hope I never see anything like this with my camera. But I will tell you that there, unfortunately, is a rise in the incidence of inflammatory breast disease in younger women. And it doesn't show up as you don't feel anything. It shows up as inflammation. Well, this is why thermography is appropriate for women starting at 20, 21. All ages of women can benefit. But with something like this, obviously a thermal camera is going to pick up inflammation way before it gets to this point, which means that disease is already present. It's scary. There are all types of breast cancer, and this one happens to be the most aggressive. I'm not trying to make people fearful. I'm just trying to say to women, you know, breast cancer doesn't just show up as a lump sometimes. It can show up like this, and you really have no signs of it until a rash maybe forms on the breast, or you know, you can feel the heat. In a breast like that, a woman in that left, you know, she could probably feel the heat in the breast because it's showing up that hot. So here,
Well, and to your point, if you're proactive and you're getting these thermograms, you'll know way before it gets to that point.
exactly, Diana. That is exactly what I'm saying. We never want it to get to this point. So if you're doing regular thermograms, we're going to pick up any increase in heat and be able to do something about it before it gets to a disease state. And that is the whole idea of this. So talking about the various screenings, here's the thermogram, the mammogram, the MRI, the ultrasound, and this is the 3D mammography that every woman gets now. It's called tomosynthesis. It was registered with the FDA in 2011, and now it's kind of the gold standard in mammography, whether you have dense breast or not, which means they take more images of you, they slice through the tissue, giving you more radiation because they can't see through that dense tissue. So here's the ultrasound. It can pick up fluid-filled cysts versus those more solid. And the MRI uses sound, magnetic resonance to pick up. And I've been told by some people that that is the most effective way to pick up a structure in the human breast. I don't hear a lot of women getting MRIs, so I don't know if these machines are just empty all the time. I don't know who gets them. Insurance dictates that as well. I think more women should have access to MRIs, and I know there's in a couple of locations in Charlotte, there are abbreviated MRI machines, and I don't know who is eligible for those. Well, I think it's the same as ultrasound. You have to have the mammogram before you can have either an MRI or an ultrasound. And that is the way the system is. So I was talking about how in dense breast, they can't see what they're looking for in a mammogram. This gives you the visual. Look how easy it is to see in fatty breast. Picks up easily. Look at this breast. That's what dense breast tissue looks like. So how do they know if it's clear or not? So getting to the procedures involved with breast thermography, it's very, very simple. For those of you who have done this, you know how simple it is. There are some protocols that you have to follow prior to coming to cool your body down. And then when you arrive for the imaging, obviously you have to disrobe from the waist up. And the room that the images are taken in has to be maintained at 68 degrees. It's not freezing, but you will be a little chilly for about 20 minutes, 15 minutes for the cool down, 5 minutes to take the images. I take 9 total images, 5 of the breast, 1 of the back, and I take 3 oral images. I could do a whole thing about oral and how it relates to overall health and breast health, but I started taking oral images like 6 or 7 years ago. I have found it can be a very helpful tool in determining whether or not there's anything in the mouth that's affecting any part of your body, but I'm particularly interested if there is a tooth in a meridian, and every tooth relates to organs in the body. But if there's a root canal that relates to the breast in that meridian, then that's something I want to be able to tell her that she may need to check out. It may not be the first thing she looks at, but when I see, and I have seen this in the images, if there's a root canal or maybe a silent infection from a cavitation, and it goes down below the chin through the neck and it goes right to the breast in question, I have seen this. And that's when I go, that's something you probably want to put at the top of your list, and only holistic dentists are going to address this with you. So I will provide her with the resources, the people I trust in the area who can help her with this. But after these images are taken, it takes about 7 to 10 days, usually a week, to get a detailed report and risk assessment with our findings. And again, you get a TH risk rating, as I explained earlier, and it's just a number. You know, just because someone has a 4 and a 5 in a breast doesn't mean that she has disease, but it means that if she doesn't take action, then it does nothing after this thermogram, don't come back, because we'll see the same thing and maybe worse. So it incents her to take the action steps she needs to take. And as a health coach, I guide her as to know what she needs to do, come up with this action plan. So here is my thermography room with my camera. And I have a little food rug. I position you for each image that I take, and it's doing a little jig around the rug. Obviously, I'm in this particular image, but you'll be undressed from the waist up. A lot of women are self-conscious about that, but I do have a screen. If someone is a little shy, I can, let her cool down behind the screen, but knowing that I am coming around to take the images of her. But I do want her to be comfortable during the cool down, so sometimes that screen comes in handy. So breast thermography is effective for all women, and particularly those dense breasts. I image women with implants all the time. It's a good screening for them. And if she has saline implants and she's had them in for a while, we can pick up areas of inflammation that may indicate it could be the implants. Saline implants leak over time, and silicone and saline both over time wear down in the breast tissue, and they don't last forever. And I wish plastic surgeons would emphasize that, when they do the surgery, that they're not meant to last forever. So it's a good way for women with implants to assess the breast health, and these implants. Obviously, women who have breast reductions, obviously you can, but when I image women who've had breast reductions, there's surgery obviously involved with that. And I just want to make this point about surgery. Anytime there's cutting anywhere on the body, but let's say surgery in the breast, scar tissue forms. And if you don't do lymphatic work after surgery, that scar tissue is going to harden, and it's going to negatively impact lymphatic flow in the breast tissue. Again, the lymphatic system is such an important part of breast health. Bra wearing has had a lot to do with that. When the breasts are confined, they're not getting movement, and movement moves the lymph. That's the only way to move the lymph system, is to move. And in the case of breasts, you need more than movement. You need to actually move it yourself. Like Dr. Wren said, the hands-off approach as far as women's breast health is not working for them. So I keep that in my mind all the time when I work with women. Please get more comfortable with touching your breast, examining your breast, doing the massage, make it a routine. And of course, after surgery, you can monitor to see if someone's going through conventional treatment. You can use thermography for that reason. I've had very little women do that, but let's just say they want to assess the breast of their lymphatic system of the lymph nodes here. They can use thermography for that after they've had breast surgery. Women who've had their breasts removed, I can't give them a risk assessment, but certainly, like I said, I can monitor the lymph nodes, these areas that are vulnerable areas after a woman has had surgery on the breast. It is safe for pregnant and breastfeeding women. However, I do not promote it for women as a risk assessment tool until after she's stopped breastfeeding about 6 months. The hormones will balance, and then we'll get a more accurate reading of the true health of her breast. It's hard to do when a woman is pregnant or breastfeeding. And while I'm here and we have time too, Diana and I were talking before this presentation started. Breastfeeding women who've had mastitis, and a lot of women do experience this infection in the breast, a clogged milk duct or whatever, and it leads to infection. It weakens the tissue because it is an infection. And so after breastfeeding, I think it's very important that women find out, about the health of their breast, because breastfeeding takes its toll on the women's breast. It's the most wonderful thing you can do in the world for your child and for yourself. But too much breastfeeding, many issues with clogged ducts and so forth, I think it would behoove her to do a thermogram after she stopped after 6 months to see, what the health of the breast, is. Okay, simple and painless. That draws a lot of people to thermography because there is no compression. And I'll tell you, I've had women who've had mammograms be injured by the compression. The actual inflammation showing up in the images came from the mammogram.
Oh gosh.
And of course, the no radiation thing is huge because it's not just the mammography. Look at all the other sources of radiation we're exposed to. So all of us want to stay healthy, and to stay healthy, you have to minimize the amount of radiation by making the choices that I'm not going to do in x-rays every time I go to the dentist. Okay. And you have to make the decision about how often you want to do mammograms, if you want to do them at all. It's your choice. Mm-hmm. There is no organization out there that agrees about when a woman should start and how often she should have them. They all disagree, right? I mean, recent information came out about this, and I think it's still around 40 that they say, but some say 50. The fact that they all disagree about this means that this is a woman's choice. I have women who come here and they say, "Okay, I'm just going to do thermography." And then I have women come here and say, "I'm going to do a thermogram and every year, but I'm also going to do the ultrasound, and I may have a mammogram every 5 years." You see what I'm saying? It's your choice. And
absolutely.
We have to be empowered and know that what our choice is might be different from the next person, but we do not have to do like everybody else does. And of course, mammography is going to continue to be promoted because it is a money-making machine. And that there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Otherwise, they would look at this dense issue and come up with another plan for women if mammography wasn't tied to money. But they have not, and that's why something needs to be done. But this thermography is the only screening that will give you this risk assessment to allow you to become proactive and take a preventive approach to your breast health. The other screenings do not do that. They just say, come back next year for the screening, right? That's it. And again, early detection, which is what the system goes for. And I'm not saying that it can help somebody to early detect and save lives, but it's not prevention. Okay, so I have 2 appointment types available. A fully interpreted thermogram includes those 9 images I told you about, and a follow-up appointment with me to review the report and discuss these ways to improve breast health. And that's the price point on that. And the Thermoglance is a new service I'm offering that allows a woman to be educated about thermal imaging herself. I take all the images, the 9 images, and during the cool down, she watches a PowerPoint video where I go to even more detail than I have in this presentation to educate her about what this is. And then I put her images on a flash drive, and she has a couple of weeks to decide, do I want more information based on the education she's been given through the slide presentation she's watched, and based on looking at her own images. So this is a way to educate more women at a price point that they can afford at $75. Again, you can just take that flash drive and just have it for your own records, or you can say, when I look at that PowerPoint presentation, I see an area here I'm concerned, and then you can upgrade, and that amount of money will be applied to a fully interpreted thermogram. So that's something I'm trying to get off the ground, and because I don't want cost to be a factor. I've tried to keep the price point such that more and more women will be interested in this and can afford it, because this should be available to all women. Is it included in insurance? No, it's
Right.
not. Yep, another bad thing. As more women do it and tell their insurance companies they're doing it, maybe some of them will get on board. The only ones I know who cover it are the shared co-op plans, and sometimes they'll reimburse for thermography. But the Blue Crosses of the world and those people, they normally do not cover thermography, unfortunately. So the Thermoglyphs, these appointments are now being taken here at my home office, where I've been doing this for some time now, and I'm in the process of training someone. I have another camera, and I am training someone right now to open another office in the Charlotte area. So I know tonight, this is for the Think Crunchy group and Diana's Crunchy Mom group of Charlotte. And so I have done these parties elsewhere on a larger scale, but I want to invite you to come here for a Thermoglyphs party to learn more and have fun. It's Tuesday, September the 19th in my location, and it's just a way to learn more and share, and there'll be healthy mocktails and snacks and door prize drawings, and I'll give a grand prize drawing of a Thermoglyphs and a thermogram away. So
Amazing.
It's limited to 10 people. So the first 10 people to sign up, and all you have to do is email me, gaye@holisticbreasthealth.org, and I'll put you down. And then if we get enough response, I'll keep doing these to further educate women and get them interested in this very important screening about which most women don't know anything. I hope this has been helpful.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. And I will, since I have been to a Thermoglyphs party, I will just quickly tell everyone how amazing it was, because you walked through your presentation. But like you said, it's a great community effort. And so there's multiple people in the room, a lot of people who have had some experiences with thermography, some haven't. The one that I went to, you actually had a few people who had pretty incredible transformations through the process.
Right.
So that was really fun as well.
Yes. And
Yeah.
Diana, it's all about sharing. When you get a group of people together and share experiences, that's how you learn.
Yes.
And that's why I think gathering like this and talking to one another, and it's so valuable. I'm just glad now people are not hesitant to come out and do things like this, because
Right.
I just think nothing replaces one-on-one learning like this. Yes, Zoom, this is invaluable. People can watch this at any time, but then, questions. I want people to ask me questions. I want to learn from them, and I want them to learn from me. So this will allow us the opportunity in these little parties to have fun and talk about this very important topic, because unfortunately, like I said, there's a rise in the incidence of breast cancer in younger women. So my goal is to get it to all women, especially, the 20 to 30-year-olds who don't have access really to routine screening. Even the conventional world doesn't promote mammography for 20-year-olds. Although I've had 20-year-olds come to me and they were given mammograms. And they can't see anything. It's a given that the 20-year-old is going to have dense tissue. And so they're radiating, really, really sensitive dense tissue unnecessarily. So something like this is going to hopefully get them on the right path early enough so that, in 8 to 10 years, if she stayed on the track she was on, I mean, who knows, and had a mammogram. I just am passionate about making sure that doesn't happen to women, and that they get the earliest possible warning that things are not going in the right direction.
Yeah, Absolutely. I mean, I think that's so important. And somebody did send me a question here, if
Great,
it's okay for me to give that to you.
please.
Okay. You had touched on food for breast health. Are there certain foods that you recommend people include in their diet?
It's a great question. And yes, um, I hope all of you watching this love cruciferous vegetables, those in the cabbage family, because to me, those are the most powerful. Um, Anything in the cabbage family, whether it's broccoli, kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, there are many in that family. And
Mhm.
broccoli sprouts are really potent. These foods have the indoles in them that help you metabolize your estrogens down a healthy pathway. And I'm putting that in layman's terms. But those foods, some people can't eat them unless they're cooked, and that's fine. You don't have to eat them raw because that is goitogenic for some people. But if you can grow your own broccoli sprouts or find a farmer that has them and buy them and put them on everything. Also, onions and garlic. I hope those of you who cook use onions and garlic regularly because those foods also have sulforaphane in them that are very protective of the breast. So yes, flax seeds have lignans in them, and that also helps the breast. So yes, there are specific foods, but in general, a whole food, plant-based way of eating is the best. And I say plant-based. If you eat animal protein, just make sure it is the cleanest animal protein you can find, meaning that's where you spend your money. Find a farmer or, going in the grocery store and buying commercial meat and dairy. That is what's making everyone's hormones off balance, men and women, and little girls who start their cycles at 9. It's not normal. And that's commercial meat and dairy. So if you eat, and I'm not against people eating animal protein, some people can be vegan and vegetarian, other people cannot, and I realize that. But if you do eat animal protein, you spend more time researching and buying that food from people you trust that don't who treat their animals, kindly, feed them no growth hormones and antibiotics, and kill them humanely. I mean, all of that goes into what you eat in commercial meat and dairy.
Yeah.
And those of you who the very first documentary about Food Inc. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but that really
Oh,
shows
yeah.
about commercial meat and dairy, commercial meat particularly, and it's pretty disgusting what goes into what most people are eating. So yeah, and I do believe the hormones in the meat are really a huge factor, but also the xenoestrogens, so things in our environment that act like estrogen. And that would be your personal care products and your cleaning products. They all contribute to hormonal imbalance because these chemicals act like estrogen in the body. If you know anyone who goes to a Bath and Body Works, okay,
Yes.
that stuff is deadly.
Oh, yeah.
It's deadly. I mean, I can't believe the store is open, but people go in there and these are the kinds of things I'm talking about that, so you
Right.
have to be as careful about what you clean your house with and what you put on your skin as you do about the food that you eat, because all of this works to affect imbalance in the hormones, and hormones are a huge issue in breast health. And if you have this estrogen dominance all the time, that is not a good thing at all. And if you're not metabolizing your estrogens in a healthy way, your liver's not doing its job of metabolizing the estrogens, and those estrogens, instead of exiting the body, start recirculating. You see where I'm going? So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's very important to address your hormones in as natural a way as you possibly can. Every month, women who are menstruating, it's up and down and up and down. And it's very hard to balance hormones. when that's constant, every 30 days this happens. But I think with, a healthy lifestyle, I really do believe you can do it. And you can, when you get to the perimenopausal phase of your life, you're going to be able to get through it because you take care of yourself. It's the women who are not on a healthy path that experience these extreme symptoms of menopause. And I get a lot of women in that category. And this is what Dr. N says about it. Okay, tough times call for tough measures. But if you can, take care of yourself, what you eat is huge. Exercise, the basics, the foundation, the food, the sleep, stress. If you can do that, you're gonna get through the perimenopause and the menopausal stage of your life easily. If you have a little hot flash every now and then, just get in front of a fan, kind of thing. I mean, that's what women years ago did. I mean, they didn't take anything. Nowadays, yes, women do have help, but I think that kind of help outside the body, long term, I think it's leading women down the wrong path for the long term.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll never be a study to show that on bioidentical, by the way, because, and it is promoted as healthy. It is healthier than the Premarin was, the synthetic hormone replacement. And I think women should think about birth control and how long they're on that. All of this factors into her hormonal health, which directly affects her breast health.
Yep. Yeah, and can we throw a little plug in for the single-use plastic water bottles that I see people drink out of all the time? Because that's another form of a synthetic estrogen, right?
No question. Yes. Most people are still drinking water out of these plastic bottles. And how long has that been known that the chemicals in plastic, what they're doing to the hormones?
Right. And giving them to children too.
Exactly. So that should be a priority for every family, is to, even if, I guess a filter out of your refrigerator is better than nothing. And then what is the one that everybody gets that's the inexpensive kind? I can't even, a pitcher.
The Brita or Berkey.
Brita. That's better than nothing. But these kinds of water filtration systems really don't take a lot of bad stuff out of the water. We definitely want to try to get the fluoride out of the water, and obviously chlorine. And most of these simple filters do take some of the chlorine, but they don't take the fluoride. A lot of people have Berkeys, and Berkey does take the fluoride out, which is good. And in an ideal world, we should be drinking natural spring water.
Yes.
With all the minerals that our soil is depleted of. We used to have all the minerals in the soil, and now we don't. And so, reverse osmosis is what I have at my sink, but I have a system that remineralizes. Would I prefer natural spring water coming out of my spigot? You best believe I would.
Oh, yes, for
if we
sure.
could get that, wouldn't that be nice? So if you're ever around a natural spring, fill up. And there is a church in Concord behind that. You've been there, Diana?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You just take your jugs and you fill up with as much as you can, and they don't charge you. They do it as outreach. So that's a good little field trip for a family, right?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, before my family moved to this area, we actually used to go and get all of our water at a freshwater spring because it was just so conveniently located. And that's just the only water my kids drank when they were little bitty, and it's just gotten harder and harder. And now we do have the reverse osmosis. And as you said, we know the importance of adding back the minerals. So we have trace minerals and electrolytes and all of those things that we're putting back into that water. Because your body doesn't know what to do with that flat water that has everything stripped of it. It's not as hydrating to your cells. It's not as nourishing for your body. So adding all of that back just makes it more usable.
Yeah. In an ideal world, we would all have access to this natural mineral water. We've got to do the best we can with that. But since we're talking about water, and I've emphasized throughout the presentation how important lymphatic massage is and lymphatic therapy, the lymph system doesn't move unless you move, which I mentioned earlier, and you're well hydrated. Because the lymph being on the surface of the skin, they're little tubules, and things get stuck in them, and that causes the congestion. And what makes those little tubules flow is hydration. So if you're not drinking enough water, that definitely contributes to lymphatic congestion. And if you don't move, like I haven't done this, but I have a bouncy chair. I'm bouncing up on it now. So even when I'm sitting here at my desk, every now and then, if I'm here too long, I will bounce. And do you see what it's doing to the breast? Up and down, up and down. Now, those of you who have rebounders, that's a good way to move the lymphatic system. I think a vibration plate is also a good way to move the lymphatic system. Obviously, when you walk and run and exercise aerobically, you're moving the lymphatic system, but it doesn't take a lot to move the lymph system. Even when I'm waiting in line at the post office, I'll just click my heels up and down. And I know people going, she can't stay still, but that's actually any kind of up and down movement like this. It particularly helps the breast because you get this movement, and you want things to unclog, and sitting around doesn't do it. So exercise is very, very important. And even the rebounder, if you have one, you don't have to jump up and down like a kid on it. I mean, if you want to use it for aerobic activity, yes. But all you need to do is let the springs do the work, just like you're letting the bouncy ball do this. So I had to bring that out about the water too, and the movement is so
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
I want to read a comment that we have from Miss Will. She left you a nice comment. She says, "Wonderful, Gaye. To the group, her passion is authentic. She is top-notch. She is very detailed in reviewing images and provides very useful education on things to do to change your risk assessment. We are blessed to have her in our community."
Oh, Will, that was so nice of her.
And she's so right. We're so blessed to have you.
Well, Diana, thank you so much. I am passionate about getting the word out to women about this and working with women to understand this and to understand how they can be you're in charge. You know, so many women want to be told what to do. You know, that's not the way health should work. You've got to be aware of your body and make your own decisions with the guidance of people you respect. And I'm just trying to share resources and information that's going to help that woman work her own individual plan. This is what I learned at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. We are all different, bio-individuality. And that is, you know, that is so important for people to get. What was right for one person is not going to be right for another person. And
absolutely.
I have women come here with high-risk thermograms, and they elect to go the whole conventional route, which that's their choice. And then I have women who have a high-risk thermogram and go the natural route. I had a woman recently tell me she came here too late, unfortunately, and she was diagnosed following the thermogram. And she went an all-natural route, and I'm waiting to hear from her about all the things she did. She's only shared one thing. And she's cancer-free now. So I believe in the ability of the body to heal. But you've just got to know what to do, and you've got to have it tailored to you. But that's the key. It's got to be tailored to you. It might not work. It might work for this person, but it may not work for that person. But if we can get all these common denominators out there, then you can make hopefully an intelligent decision about what steps you're going to take.
I love it.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you,
absolutely,
Roseanne, Angela. Will, thank you for those nice words. And thank you guys for joining in, and thank you, Diana, for sharing this with the women who will hopefully take the time to listen and view this.
Oh, I know they will. I know several women were excited to catch the recording because they're out with their families at this particular time. So
I totally get it. But
yes,
if any of you want to come here on September 19th, I'd love to have you learn more. And I'll learn from you and you'll learn from me and we'll learn from each other and have some healthy food. And who knows, you might win a free thermoglimpse or a thermogram when you come.
I know. That's incredible.
So I
Yeah,
know Diana,
and
go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say that I know for a fact, based on your last party, that you really do give those out. I mean, it's incredible. It's like
Yes.
someone came to just learn more and they got their free thermogram. Like
Right. Exactly.
amazing.
You
Yeah.
know,
Well, what a beautiful gift.
well, it's, you and I talked too. It's fun to do these things. It's fun to meet new people. And it's great to share. And we're all into healthy food, and it gives me an opportunity to try to be creative and share with you some of the things that I think you will like, food wise. And Diana
Yep.
helped me with the mocktail when she came to the one I did at another location in, I think it was May, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it May?
Yeah, that was good
And
fun. Yeah.
that was a lot of fun. So we'll just have fun and we'll learn more. And
Absolutely.
again, you can bring a friend with you, but it is limited to the first 10 people I hear from. And then if
Yep.
we get more than that interested, then we'll do another one at another time. I'll keep you on a waiting list.
Perfect. And I will send those details to everyone who registered. And I'll also make sure that it goes out in our next newsletter for Think Crunchy. So if you're not on the newsletter yet, you can go to the homepage. It's just thinkcrunchy.com. There's a little pop-up. It will ask for your info. Get yourself on that newsletter. We send lots of great information, including your chance to sign up for this course.
Great. Thanks again,
Awesome.
everyone.
All
And
right,
to
thank you
you,
so much.
Diana, for forming
Thank you, ma'am.
these groups that are so valuable to share with. I'm in awe with you and admire you so for doing what you've done to get these women together.
You couldn't do it without amazing practitioners like you in our area. So thank you
Thanks
for
again,
being
and
the foundation.
everyone have a
All
nice
right.
rest of their evening.
Have a good night. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.